everybody. Welcome to Dubs Talk Live, brought to you by Fit Aid. Monte, Poole, Kerith, Burke here. We are digesting the fact that the Warriors have started this road trip 0-3. Yeah, the Grizzlies hung 133 points on them. They also had 18 three-pointers. The Warriors are actually 18th in the league because they average 11.6 threes. They had 12 by halftime. So, Monte, it feels like we might have to start the show talking about the defense. Where would you like to start?
That's the right place.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, when the Warriors left home, Steve Kerr talked about it, Draymond talked about it, Steph talked about it. It begins with defense. It begins with defense. And now you've gone on 3 road games, and you're averaging giving up 130 points.
Yikes.
131 to be exact, almost. But you look at what they did tonight, and again, first few minutes of the game, the Warriors look like they're on to something, okay, and then here comes the barrage.
Yeah, suddenly they're down 10.
Yeah, and it's the threes. It's the threes. I mean, the Grizzlies, in the first half of the game, made 12 threes.
Yep.
And it set a tone, and Draymond will say this all the time. Once a team gets into a rhythm of making threes, it's hard to stop it.
Yeah.
It really is. And so, in the second half, they cooled off a little bit, but still they shot 47% from 3 for the game. That's a high number. Coming after the Hawks shot 39%. The Clippers shot 44% from 3.
Okay.
So you got to do better job of defending the 3, and that's the thing they talked about before they took on this road trip.
All right, there's one stat that's kind of hanging over the Warriors as well. They're 1-19 when their opponent makes more than 15 threes when the Warriors are on the road. We're talking about day and night, home versus away. These road Warriors are troublesome. Here's Steph Curry after the game trying to make sense of it.
Steph, just general thoughts on your matchup with Dillon tonight.
You said what?
General thoughts on your matchup with Dillon tonight.
We played the whole Memphis Grizzlies, not just him. That's my thoughts.
What did you think of Kuminga and what he was able to do tonight, both offensively and defensively, and then just his growth at all of this season?
The biggest thing is just like competing and on both ends of the floor, being decisive. He was offensively, the way that they were defending us, he had good looks and there was no kind of second guessing the shots he was taking, which is great because you got to make them pay for the way they kind of shade on, the rest of the side of the court, and he has to be aggressive. So, when he's out there, especially with certain lineups, he's going to get those shots. You have to be assertive and decisive, and he did that really well, especially early, and gave us a lot of life and energy. And then the rest of it on defense and just his energy is just, competing. No matter who he's guarding, being within the structure of our defense, using his athleticism and trying to do it without fouling, which is, even more growth for him. So, to play, as much as he did, he made an impact and it was good for us.
This is the last back end of the back-to-backs for this season. Steve said he kind of felt like maybe the schedule caught up to you just with 3 games and 4 nights. How are you feeling, and what did you think about your performance tonight?
I mean, I felt fine. I think that's never an excuse for anything in terms of how you play. When you suit up, you expect to play great. So, physically it was fine. Mentally felt like we locked in and missed some shots, which happens. And again, the way that they guard us, it's putting a lot of pressure. Dillon does that a lot, 94 feet, knowing he has, a lot of size behind him, and it's part of their game plan. So whether you get up the normal amount of shots you do or not, you still just try to pick and choose your spots. A couple more go down, maybe things change a little bit, but it was overall pretty, obviously we lost, so don't even feel like really talking about anything other than just, physically felt great.
Steph, you guys are, again, used to teams just kind of getting up for you a little bit. So when you see a team like the Grizzlies, so obviously the history is there, and obviously Dillon was doing what he did. How do you guys just kind of like brush it off and not let it phase you, I guess?
just play basketball, knowing we've experienced a lot over the course of these years, and no matter how this season plays out, we understand that environment, that intensity. It's just, things haven't gone our way recently where we haven't been able to get over the hump, but nothing in the game really, bothers us to the point where, we're not prepared for it.
All right, we will talk Steph Curry later in the show. Good to hear from him there. But Monte, as I look at the box score, I see two 20-point scorers. They're both coming off the bench. It's Jonathan Kuminga, who led the team in scoring tonight, and Jordan Poole. Let's start with Kuminga, who had an excellent start in this game. What did you think of his night?
I thought he played really well. I mean, he had a couple of plays that, you look at and go, oh, he screwed that one up. The breakaway dunk that he fumbled the ball out of
off his
bounds.
own steal.
Yeah, he had a couple of plays that he goofed up. But on the whole, Kuminga was really good tonight, I thought. He defended well. He had he had 8 rebounds, 24 points. He was efficient. He made threes. He got dunks. He was active. I thought JK and JP both show the value of young legs.
Oh, okay.
This is a back-to-back. And I think Steph and Clay and Loon, all who put in heavy minutes last night. Loon had career highs in scoring and had 16 rebounds, 4 blocks. And so I think those guys in the fourth quarter just kind of faded out a little bit. And this is the kind of game, back-to-back late in the season, where you really need your young guys to come through. And I thought JK was really good. Jordan was good in spurts, but JK I thought was really good tonight. I mean, just in general, because there's games where he'll have highlights, but his whole game won't be that good.
Yeah.
Tonight, I thought he had highlights, and his game was pretty good. I give him an A-, at easy A-.
Yeah, there you go. We're looking at some of the Twitter reaction as well. We saw one that says, Jonathan Kuminga is the future. That's interesting to think about. And I did notice that he played 30 minutes tonight. What's going to start to feel reasonable for JK as he continues to have some of these great performances?
As long as Wiggins is not around, I think he's got to be 25, 30 minutes a night.
Okay.
I mean, 30 tonight was important because, again, on the back-to-back, you may stretch him a little bit, give the other guys a little bit more bench time. But for JK, I don't think 30 minutes a night is a big deal for him. He can do that.
Yeah. Young legs.
Yes.
8 rebounds, too. I thought for sure you would point that out.
That's a huge thing about him.
Yes.
They're right on. He had a game the other night in LA, I think, where he had 0 rebounds.
0. That was against the Clippers versus the Hawks. He had 6. So he's ticking that up. Somebody's in his ear saying, hey,
absolutely,
we need you in this category.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Jordan Poole, 21 points, 17 in the third quarter. And you recently wrote about Jordan Poole. What were you looking for in his game tonight?
Consistency. And tonight, Jordan, let's face it, Jordan tonight was, early on, he was scattered and he was trying to do too much. And what gets Jordan into trouble is when he forces the issue. And he had 4 turnovers tonight, and a couple of them were over dribbling and going into traffic in the paint and stuff like that. But he is so good at getting to the rim that he thinks he can do it all the time. And he has to learn to pick his spots, And so in that third quarter, though, he had 17 points. Why? Because he was aggressive, he was timely, and when he was getting fouled, he was going to the line and making his free throws. He made 9 free throws in that third quarter. So I think Jordan, who has really had an up and down season. I mean, he's had games, he'll go 2 weeks where he'll be really good, and then he'll go 2 weeks where it's like, oh my God, what happened to Jordan? Yeah. And so lately he's been in a downward spell, and I think, that means that he's due to turn it around the other way. And tonight wasn't quite it, but tonight was a sort of an indicator of what could be to come next couple games. I'd be surprised if Jordan doesn't play well in the next 2 games.
Gotcha. All right. And looking at his 9 for 9 from the stripe tonight, that fit into a larger picture that the Warriors got to the free throw line tonight. They attacked. Now, there are some moments when they stopped attacking, though, started chucking up some threes, and then what happened? That's when the Grizzlies built their lead back. What do you think about some of the decision-making with these shots? Yeah,
that was an issue.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been an issue off and on all season. You take the tough shot. There have been games, the Warriors still lead the league or right at the top of the league in terms of assists per game, but their benchmark is 30 assists a game. Okay. And of the last 10 or 12 games, I bet they haven't had 30 more than 3 or 4 times. They're in the 20s, but I think Memphis had 35 assists tonight. So for the Warriors to play at their best, the ball has to be moving on a regular basis. Get back to not just a good shot, not just the great shot, but the best shot, you know, and you have 24 seconds to find it. It can be tough sometimes when Jordan is dribbling away half of the shot clock. But again, in general, you want to get the best possible shot. So tonight, I just thought they were a step slow at times. But I think the offense wasn't the biggest issue. I think for the Warriors, the biggest issue was defense. I just thought they didn't defend the three very well at all.
Yeah, and I want to follow up on something from the last game. So March 9th, I believe it was. The Warriors just faced the Grizzlies, I don't know, 9 days ago, actually. In that game, Steve Kerr admitted that he got cute. He said he started 4 guards in that one. Not the case tonight. What do you think about what they got with the size they've had on the floor? Well,
I think they out-rebounded the Grizzlies, which is a great sign. But again, that was the young guys coming in, you know, and so Looney had 3 rebounds tonight, I think.
Excuse me?
Looney had 3 rebounds.
There was a moment where he looked a little slow and was kind of grabbing his back.
Yeah, well,
and
you know,
he's been on the injury report.
Yes.
I thought,
he's playing through something. And last night, you know, back-to-backs for Looney is a little different.
Yeah, it is.
You know, his body. And so 16 rebounds last night, 3 tonight. I think that tells a story right there.
Yeah,
so
right.
You look at that, and I think going with the bigger lineup is fine. Memphis is a huge team. But that's also why you need a guy like Kuminga who can play big. And so getting 8 rebounds from JK.
8 from Steph
8 from
as well.
Steph, you know, so 7 from Draymond, 5 from Dante. You know, that's what you need to do against this team. You got to be a team rebounding thing. And I thought they did a pretty good job of that. And so they came to help Looney tonight in terms of getting rebounds because lately he's been the guy who's been doing it.
Yeah.
And not many others have been doing a whole lot there. So tonight they showed up for him. The rebounding was not an issue. So the size I thought wasn't really a big issue for the Warriors.
Okay. Iron Man Loon, we hope he's doing okay. All right. When we come back on Dubstock Live, brought to you by FitAid, we need to talk about Steph. Promised you that conversation. We're going to wrap in Klay Thompson. And then, of course, there's the overlap with the night Dillon Brooks had. All right. We'll get to that when we come back.
Dubs Talk Live is presented by FitAid Clean Energy and Sports Recovery, the energy drink for athletes. FitAid Energy is naturally sweetened with only 15 calories, no sucralose, no aspartame, and no compromises.
Hey everybody, nice to see everyone joining us in the YouTube chat. Steve Kerr getting a lot of heat in these comments. Miguel says, how can you win games with a coach that can't teach defense, relies on small ball, and refuses to make any adjustments? Curry can't save you every time. I think I see some comments about the lack of adjustments or some of the frustration with who's playing in the defense. What do you think about how much criticism does Steve Kerr deserve at this point in the season? I mean, the Warriors are 7-29. You'd think something has to change. Are the guys ready to play?
I understand the frustration, wanting to get more from this team, this roster. But where I run, when I hear that it's on the coaching staff, my first thing is, okay, well, what happens at home? You know, oh, the coaches are great at home, and the coaches go on the road and they screw things up. I mean, so it's the same staff, home and away.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if the coaches are I don't think they're coaching differently at home.
Okay.
I think the players
play differently
at home. I mean, Dante talked about it a little bit last night. You know, I think the players are a little different at home. I don't think it's the coaching staff. So that's why I think, there's some criticism of Steve is fair, but I think to say, but I think to say that, well, you know, Steve doesn't know how to do this, doesn't know how to do that. Guys won 4 championships.
Yeah.
Guys won 80% of his games at home this year.
Yeah.
On the road, 20%.
I got you.
Can't win like that.
I got
so.
you. They might miss Mike Brown. I actually think that's an
a little bit.
interesting thing to dig into.
Yeah, I think they miss his presence. I don't think it's a matter of defense. Oh, he could save the defense because, again, they're a top 5 defense at home.
Yeah.
So it's not like they can't play good defense.
Yeah.
Not like they forgot how to play good defense.
Yeah.
They just don't do it on the road.
Welcome back to Dubstock Live, brought to you by FitAid. Steph Curry in this game looked a little. Was he tired? Was he bothered by Brooks? Maybe a combination of those things. 5 of 15, 3 of 8. Did have 8 rebounds in this game. Steve Kerr said after the game he thought the schedule had caught up with Curry. So second night of a back-to-back, 3 and 4 games. Steph said, I'm fine. And anytime you put the uniform on, you have to go out and play. What do you think impacted Steph?
Steph is never going to say he's tired.
I know. But in his voice, though, Monte, it was part frustration.
Yeah.
Part, I think he sounded tired.
Yeah. I mean, I think, and it's reasonable to expect it. They got to the hotel at 1:30 local time.
Sure.
And so back-to-backs are hard anyway.
The Grizzlies are on a back-to-back?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
an
younger.
overtime back-to-back.
They're younger.
They're younger.
They're a lot younger.
Sure.
And again,
I got
that's
you.
why I think the young guys like JP and JK tonight had a little more in their legs.
Mm-hmm.
But the Warriors, I mean, you look at what Steph and Clay and Loon did tonight. They all played last night, and tonight they didn't have much.
Quieter nights.
And Draymond had a little more. He didn't play last night. So I just think that in this instance, you got to look at it and say, well, yeah, Steph 35 years old. I don't think that's the issue. I think it's a matter of, this is one of those nights where he didn't have as much juice as he had last night.
Yeah. All right. And Klay Thompson as well, looking at his stats from tonight, 6 of 17, 2 of 9. It's his three-point shooting that's something about it. It feels like he's chucking again, if I can just be direct. You can tell how bad he wants this, of course, but there's also some lack of effort on defense as well, like slow to close out or not running back. Just like, Klay, what's going on right now? You don't look like yourself.
That's been off and on all season, you know. I go back to the play, and again in Memphis, the last time they were there, when they were there last week, and there's a loose ball, and Klay is kind of jogging after it, and their good friend Dillon Brooks just goes right past him, gets the ball, and goes in for an easy dunk.
Yeah, there's a different hunger that I'm seeing right now.
So I don't know if it's Klay's. I don't know if he's not able to move like he did before. I think some of that may be a factor, but I think you see Klay running the court at times.
Right there.
But I just think that there are times when, you look at Klay and it's like, okay, you wonder how locked in he is. Because when Klay is locked in, he's a terrific player.
Oh, for sure.
But there are times you watch him, you go, he's making these mental errors that he should be beyond at age 33. And you're thinking, okay, is he totally locked in on this game or not? And that tonight, I think fatigue may have been a factor there because, again, he just started playing back-to-backs, a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I think it's fair to say for Klay that tonight was one of those situations where fatigue crept in a little bit and he just didn't have it. But you're right. I think he, needs to be a little bit more careful about his shots selection. I don't think he was thirsty. But I think there were a couple of shots he got not taken.
Like, shoot, maybe not that one, Klay.
Yeah,
maybe not that one.
Yeah.
Dillon Brooks guarding Steph Curry for most of the night, and then Dillon Brooks started turning his attention to Klay Thompson because I think they had a few back and forth. I mean, Dillon Brooks was 4 of 4 for 3. And one in the fourth quarter, he hit it in Klay's face and let him know. Okay, and then they kind of continue that onto the bench. I think Dillon Brooks was talking to Klay, and then that's when we saw the video of Klay counting 1, 2, 3, 4 rings when he was on the bench. So some frustration there, which means Dillon Brooks did his job.
Yeah, that's what Dillon Brooks wants to do. Dillon the villain. That's what he embraces that name,
He does.
that world. And so I think for Klay, the whole 1, 2, 3, 4 rings speaks of, frankly, the past. They're defending champions, but they just got their toes kicked tonight. I don't want to say the other part, but they got busted tonight.
Yeah.
And they've been getting busted on the road on a regular basis. So, you got 4 rings and those guys don't have any.
Yep.
And so you've done some things.
Yes, you have.
But right now, they're beating you. So, I mean, I get the smoke there, and I understand that, but and Dillon Brooks is going to try and get under your skin. That's what his role is.
Sure.
And tonight, when he started making shots, I'm like, Dillon Brooks won't be contained tonight. He's going to be on his mission tonight.
Yeah.
And so he was making shots, talking trash, getting guys mugs, and just trying to take them off of their game. I think for Dillon Brooks, that's what he does. I still don't think he is going to be a key part of that team if they make a deep run. I don't think they can do that with him. He's too inconsistent, and he's one of those guys who rides the highs and rides the lows, and his lows are really bad. So there's a good team, but they don't have enough maturity.
Okay.
And he's embodying that every time he goes on the floor.
Now, he had a great three-point shooting night, but his average is 32%. He picked up his 17th technical last night. So there are some ways that Dillon Brooks is good for the Grizzlies. There are some ways that he is a liability. And here he is telling Klay Thompson, you suck. Okay, now I know it feels a lot better for Klay to say 1, 2, 3, 4 rings instead of Dillon Brooks going scoreboard, scoreboard.
Right.
But the Warriors are 0 for 23 on the road when trailing heading into the fourth quarter. They have an 11-game losing streak on the road. Okay, there are some dangerous things for the Warriors, some things that put them in jeopardy right now. You know, as we add this up, we've talked about this all season, that a team that can't win on the road is extremely unlikely to defend a championship or even maybe do well in the postseason. You have to win games on the road, which the Warriors have traditionally done. But I'm worried this season. Yeah,
and, you know, I talked to Steph about 3 weeks ago before we did our podcast with him, and I remember him saying that best case scenario, top 4.
It's looking at a touch right now. The Warriors are back
4?
at 500.
Top 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's for home court.
But you get to first round series at home court advantage. Okay, then of course, you want to make sure you're in the top 6. Above the play-in line. You want to stay above, you don't want to be in a one and out situation. No. And right now they're falling fast up to where they could end up there if this road trip doesn't turn out. If they win these last 2 games, it could change things. But they're at this point of where you can't expect the Warriors to win a road game. And that's. Remember when we left? When they left? I did. Saying, I was like, they're going to be 3-2 on this road trip. Monte, things are going to change. I was skeptical. Yes. No, you're right. I've got no problem saying that. I drank the Kool-Aid. I thought things were going to be different. So did Clay. Steph is back. What Clay said? Yes. Yeah, I think we got to do this. I know. And I understand the good vibe. You know, when you start winning, you think, okay, we're back. Yeah. And you go on the road and you get told, no, you ain't back. No, you're not back. No, you're not back. You get told you're not back in LA. You get told you're not back in Atlanta. You get told you're not back in Memphis. That's 3 times. You got Houston and Dallas to go. Okay. You got a chance to get back, but you've already lost 3. Sure. Let's talk about that schedule and where the Warriors are in the standings, and then we'll wrap up the show when Dubs Talk Live returns.
Dubs Talk Live is presented by FitAid Clean Energy and Sports Recovery, the energy drink for athletes. FitAid Energy is naturally sweetened with only 15 calories, no sucralose, no aspartame, and no compromises.
Hey there, Next Level is also pointing out that Clay was a minus 30, worst out of everybody tonight. Yeah. Oh my goodness. He wasn't good tonight. He was not good tonight. No, and we need to talk about that. So. And you know, even Clay last night, 11 rebounds. Tonight, 1. So I mean, the legs I just don't think were there for Clay and Steph and Loon like they normally are. Yeah. Well, I mean, Steph got 8 rebounds, which for him is tremendous. Yeah. You know, that's not unusual, but obviously he didn't have much in terms of offense. When Steph only makes 5 shots, that's a subpar game. Actually, how many shots did he take? 15. Actually, okay. Yeah, so 5 of 15 is not efficient. No. 5 makes, so a rough night for him, rougher night for Clay. 1 step forward, 2 step back. Gosh, maybe we should talk about the Kings. Oh, I dare you. Listen, good stuff. I dare you. No, I mean, you can be happy for other teams. You can be happy for Mike Brown. The Kings have a really fun story right now. I don't know if the Bay Area is, if the Warriors are ready to. But, I mean, we talked about this earlier. It's like, how much fun would it be if you have a Warriors-Kings first-round series? Oh, man. I mean, I think that'd be incredibly fun. Yeah. This area, this region would melt down. Yeah, it would be so much fun. I think it'd be awesome. Yeah. In the first game in Sacramento when they play in the playoffs, because they're going to make it. Yes, the drought is going to be over. Congratulations to the team. That first game at that Golden One Center is going to be nuts. Yeah. I mean, you'll be able to hear it 50 miles away. And so I'm tempted I don't know where the Warriors are going to be, but I mean, the thought of being there for that game, just to feel the vibe, is be pretty impressive. Yeah. Alrighty. What are we starting with? Okay. All right, thank you. Welcome back to Dubs Talk Live, brought to you by FitAid. So, the Warriors are back at 500. They were 4 games over 500. I don't know when, but they are tumbling. Dallas has leapfrogged them, and they are underneath that play-in line. So if the playoffs started today, they would have to fight for their lives, Monte. If you want to look at it from the worst possible angle, they're only 1 loss column away from the Lakers. Lakers have lost 37. The Warriors have lost 36. Okay. So the Lakers, not that far away from the Warriors, and the Lakers right now are out of the playoffs altogether. Yeah. So what helped the Warriors tonight is that, Minnesota lost. When another team that's running there, Denver loses, Minnesota loses. There was somebody else there who was also in that gaggle there that also lost. And so
when you have that happen, if you're the Warriors, they're kind of eating each other.
Well, the clump is helping out,
yes.
right? Which is
every night there's going to be somebody going to beat somebody.
Yeah.
It's going to help somebody. It's going to hurt somebody. And so it's going to be, these last couple of weeks going to be crazy. They already are. You can literally go from 7th or 8th to like 9th or 10th and like that.
Yeah.
You can go from 6 to 9. I mean, it's crazy right now. It's that
stuff.
tight.
Yeah, but the Warriors are back at 500. That has been the story of their season. I would say ordinarily perfect time for a Rockets game, okay? And maybe the Warriors are looking at that too. But because it's on the road, nothing is guaranteed. No, truly. You can't look past any type of opponent. Let's take a look at the schedule because the Warriors are heading to Texas. You can see the Rockets next. The Mavericks follow. So the team that's ahead of them right now in the playoffs. The Mavericks, I know Kyrie has missed a few games and Luka's missed a few games, but I do think they're back to overlapping and being together on the court. That'll be an interesting look for the Warriors to face them.
Yeah, they haven't seen the Luka Kyrie Mavericks, but you got to get to Houston first. They've won there before this season.
Yes, they have.
And so it really is a cliche. It's one game at a time on the road, and you take one win and try and quote unquote stack them.
Yes.
But this is the road trip. This is a 5-game road trip. They don't have any more of those trips the rest of the season. They have some road games, but they don't have a 5-game swing. And they already going to be a guaranteed a losing road trip, which is not exactly the way to maintain, stay in that 5, 6, 7 area. They could drop if this keeps going on.
Yeah. 10 games left in the season. I can't tell if this has been a long season or if it's accelerated quickly or what. I just know it's been a bizarre season as I try to explain it to people, and I don't have the answers.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying they have to get into the mid-40s, 45, 46, to get to assure themselves top 6. To get to 40, 45 now, you've got to go 9-1.
I don't think that's possible.
To get to 46, you got to go 10-0. So yeah, I mean, top 6 again. It's right now. It's so cannibalistic there though, to where teams are going to be doing this all the way through until the last game of the season. So there's an outside chance, but I think to assure getting there, you got to win at least 45, and that's going to be really hard to do. So they have to hope that along the way there's enough other teams bumping around, stumbling and bumbling, and they can sort of capitalize on that and end up maybe with 43, 44 and still get a 6th spot.
Do you happen to remember what your win prediction was at the beginning of the season? Because I remember mine. I predicted 54 wins. The Warriors right now sitting at 36.
Ooh, I do not remember. Okay. I don't think it was over 50. I could be wrong. I don't remember. I know last year I predicted 54, I think, and they won 53.
Yeah.
But this year I didn't see this coming.
No.
I don't think anybody did.
No. All right. So. See if the Warriors can start turning it around. They need those wins on the road. Thanks for watching Dubs Talk Live, brought to you by FitAid. We'll see you next time. If I recall correctly, that was your prediction.
It might have been 50.
No.
58?
Yeah.
For this team?
Yeah.
I
thought so.
Okay, I'll look. I mean, I'll try and find out.
I thought so.
Yeah, but like, I'm trying to figure out where that was going to come from. Because
I don't know. Well, you know what? We both thought, I hope I'm not putting words in your mouth, but I feel like I remember we both thought the Warriors had the potential to be an even better team this year, because we thought Jonathan Kuminga was going to be much improved. Moses Moody was going to be much improved. You have these young guys coming off a championship season.
Yeah.
They got their, the luxury of patience in their rookie season. Now they're ready to drop in, make a big impact. I think we both liked Dante DiVincenzo. Not Dante. Yeah, well, yes, Dante. And then we're like, okay, there's some potential here. Let's see if they can build on this championship. They've got other guys in the prime. Yeah. And then the youth came in to play,
I think
and
when you
two-way
look
players.
at where the Warriors are now, 58 wins for this team would have been an overachievement. But I think what happened last year
was also an overachievement. Potentially.
It was a surprise championship.
Yeah.
They didn't know what they had when the season started. They were hopeful they could contend. But once they got to the postseason, you saw that their experience was a huge factor in their favor.
Yeah, let me check myself, because it didn't overperform, because I do agree with you that when you get to the postseason with this team, anything is possible.
Yes.
They show why they
It was last year.
Based on their championship pedigree, yes.
Yeah, it was last year, but I think this year is different. I think you have fewer veterans.
Yeah, you do.
And last year's veterans were big for them,
off the bench especially.
And so whether it's Damian Lee hitting a shot or Gary Payton locking down somebody, And they haven't had that this year on a regular basis. Jordan's numbers are down. Jonathan Kuminga's been inconsistent. James Wiseman's no longer here. Moses Moody's been mostly out of the rotation, so it's not been the same situation, and that's hurt where they've been. So the Warriors thought they could be. They thought they could compete for another championship, and it's looking back, it's like that's a little bit too optimistic, I think, given what they're trying to do with the young guys and the older guys, and then you have the injuries, and we have to say this too, though. Losing Wiggins, you're coming up on almost half the season without Wiggins now. In terms of the number, not just this time, but he was out earlier too with injuries and stuff. So when you start, I mean, they've missed him for 20 plus games, close to 30 maybe. That's a big deal because he was their second best player in the postseason last year. Yeah. And he was an all-star last year. Yeah. You're missing a lot there. So Wiggins and GP2 were the reasons why you can go with a small lineup and include Jordan Poole. Because Jordan's defense is not going to be good, but those two guys' defense was so good, you can say, okay, we can hide Jordan with any other guys. Yeah,
it helps prop him up a little bit. Somebody was asking, is there a Wiggins update? No, there is not. As far as GP2 goes, he is doing on-court activities. The last we heard from Steve Kerr, he's not doing contact yet, but he's starting to ramp up. You guys know, you know that phrase. And our producer, Dan, just reminded us that he was doing a workout on the court pregame.
Not a strenuous run the floor, sweat workout, but just on the floor with a basketball doing some things.
I'm encouraged to see that. That's fine.
That's a step in the right direction. There's going to be another update here in the next 7 days or so. And after that, we'll have an idea. But they're hopeful that he will be back at some point in the regular season. They want to get him for 3 or 4 games in the regular season. They'll be happy with that if it happens.
Okay, 10 games left. All right, Monte and I have to do a podcast, so we will say goodbye. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you Monday.
Take care.